So this is how to become a 5-minute expert on the poem Kamikaze. So, kamikaze pilots were expected to fly their planes into large military targets, which would result in the loss of their own life, but it would cause casualties on the other side, huge ones. And the Japanese government were using propaganda to then say this is honourable and it's the best way to not be a coward, it's the best way to serve your country. So it was seen as divine, and the phrase kamikaze actually translates to divine wind. Men who refused the calling, as they called it, were seen as cowards, shamed by everyone who believed in that government propaganda. But Japan were on the losing side of the war. So this makes sense when we consider the perspective the poem was written in. So they told these men that they would be viewed very favourably in the history books. But now we sort of look back and we see these men as these victims of propaganda. So we've got a few quotations here that are very, very key. Now, the first one is a shaven head full of powerful incantations. So it's a metaphor. Obviously, an incantation is a spell. So that's what it means. So when she's talking about incantations, she's saying that her father was put under the spell of propaganda. His head was full of them because he was totally blinded by it at first. And that's actually why he chose to go out. And this is really interesting because the daughter is talking later on from the perspective of adulthood. So she's talking as an adult, talking to her own children about why she thinks her father came back. So she's really reflecting on it and thinking, actually, I think these were the reasons he came back. Like, now I'm older and I can understand it. And this is one way she talks about that. And she says that she thinks he left under this spell of propaganda. And the men would often shave their heads as well to signify commitment to duty. So another thing she starts to think about is him looking down at the ocean. Now, there's a lot of beautiful natural imagery in the poem, and it's showing how the father is constantly reminded of the beauty of life. And she's wondering if this is what caused him to return as well. So the sea is very important to Japanese culture because Japan is an island. And that sort of beauty of the sea and the fish is very important to them. And this is because, with our next quotation, the fish imagery links to Japanese culture because it's a main source of food for them, and they symbolize prosperity, abundance, perseverance, success, especially koi fish. But the fish imagery still shows how significant it is to the country, and it shows that he's looking down at the abundance of life, the wonders of life, the beauty in life. And then she says that she thinks that's why he turned back. Now, the structure of the poem, it's a narrative poem. It shifts in time constantly. So the majority of the poem is told in flashback, with the daughter, now an adult, trying to rationalize why her father would even choose to return. So he knows he would be seen as a coward. He's pretty sure he'd be seen as a coward. He was hoping they'd be relieved to see him. But she flashes back to those moments where she wonders, why did he turn back? Now, she looks at quite a few possibilities. Another possibility is that she's flashing back to his childhood. Maybe he's thinking about the time that his father, which is the girl's grandfather, returned from dangerous fishing trips. Because remember, sea fishing is very dangerous. This is not like you're fishing in a lake. You're out to sea fishing. And that's what his father did for a living. So she's wondering if he's remembering the relief when his father came home from a dangerous mission, and he's thinking that his children would want to experience that relief too. So the time shift shows the speaker is desperate to understand her father now she's a mother herself, so she wants that empathy. There's no set rhyme scheme, which adds to the idea it's quite a free narrative poem. It's her free-flowing story, and ultimately it ends with this really sort of haunting line that he must have wondered which had been the better way to. And the last line in the poem is really haunting because the father has such a lack of choice, and she's acknowledging that now she's an adult. She can look back on that and think about it. So he would have ceased to exist no matter what he chose. That's the tragedy of the family unit. That's the generational trauma that's coming through. The daughter's trying to reconnect with her father's decision now she's older and she has her own children, because she felt really isolated from her father. And now she's a mother, she really wants to understand his perspective. So that's your 5 minutes on Kamikaze. That's everything you will need to know. If you want a good poem to compare Kamikaze to, I always say Poppies is a really good poem to compare Kamikaze to, because they both focus on that female perspective and how war can affect families and how conflict can affect families. So in one case it's mother and son, in this case it's father and daughter. So if you like this, please like, subscribe and comment anything you need me to go over.